Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. In this video we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about a live action role-playing game instead of a regular role-playing game. I don't have a lot of experience with live action role-playing games. The first time I ever played in one was in a Mind's Eye Theater game. It was a vampire game, and I really didn't care for it that much. I didn't like the way the rules worked or anything, and it kind of killed me on ever wanting to play a live-action role-playing game again. And then sometime after that, West End Games released a live-action Star Wars game, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Star Wars live-action adventures. This book has 128 pages and a copyright of 1996. It was published by West End Games, and all the artwork in this book is in black and white. And it's all just pictures from the movies, so we're just going to go ahead and skip that for this time. To play this game, what you're going to need is a copy of this core rulebook and some six-sided dice. To generate a character in this game, first thing you do is your attributes. There are 6 attributes, and you get 18 points to split up amongst them. The attributes are dexterity, knowledge, mechanical, perception, strength, and technical. And you have to put at least 2 in each skill, and you can't go beyond 4. That's the stats for standard human. The other species in this game have their own minimums and maximums. And presented in this book, they have Ewoks, Gamorreans, Ithorians, Mon Calamari, Rodanes, Wookiees, R2 astromechs, and C-3PO protocol droids. The last 2 are droids, but they have them listed with the species. And since this game is so compatible with the tabletop version of these 6 Star Wars, if you have one of the species books for that, you could use it to play a different species, which is really cool. And you figure up your skills. You get 7 points to split up amongst your skills, and there's a bunch of skills. Each skill is tied to an attribute, so when you put a point in a skill, you add it to whatever the attribute it's tied to is, and that gives you a total for the skill. When you are playing this game, you roll a 6-sided die on a flat surface nearby, and you add whatever the total is to your skill or attribute, whichever you're checking, and that'll give you a number to tell whether you succeed or fail. And the Gamemaster should have the chart memorized, the success chart, and he'll tell you whether you're total succeeds or fails. If you roll a 6, you get to re-roll it and keep rolling and adding it to your total until you no longer roll a 6, which is really cool. At character creation, you also get 5 character points. Character points are used in 2 different ways in this game. The first is you can augment a skill check. If you make your check and you don't like the roll you got, you can spend a character point and roll another 6-sided die to add to the total. And that's pretty neat. The other way the character points are used are to increase skills and attributes and so forth, just like experience points, and they're earned just like experience points. Then you have, at character creation, you got to choose whether you're force sensitive or not. And it suggests that you make sure it makes sense. Like, you wouldn't be an Imperial Stormtrooper that's force sensitive. I mean, you might be, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, non-force sensitive characters get 1 force point or 1 dark side point, depending on how they're attuned. And that's different from the tabletop game. The tabletop game, dark side points register how evil you are. So there's a difference there. And if you're force sensitive, you get 2. So that's pretty neat. Then you figure up your wounds, and your starting wounds, your wounds in this game are equal to your strength, which is different from the tabletop, but it works. You then get to roll 1d6 times 250 for your starting credits to buy equipment. And there's a small chart of equipment in here, not anything fancy. And Gamemaster also has a list of starting equipment that he can let you pick one item for free, or make you randomly roll it, however he wishes to do it. And this book has all the information you need to get started. It tells you how to get a game going, how to reach players who may be interested in playing, how to pick locations to play, and set scenes and stuff. It's got a chapter in here on using props and costumes for your game. Doesn't get into too big of detail, but just gives you some ideas. And it's got a pre-made adventure in here that you can use to get going. It's called the Shard of Olderon. And it's pretty neat. And that's about it. It's got a character sheet and a photocopy in the back, so your characters write down their information and carry it with them. And it's got a little page with little bitty slips indicating character points, dark side points, and force points. Or your Game Master could just get some chips. And it gives you a few hints and ideas of how to run a game in here. That's pretty much all there is in this book. At the same time that it was published, they published another book called the Gamemaster's Toolkit. This book has 96 pages, and again, it was published in 1996 and was published by West End Games. Once again, all the artwork in this book is just pictures from the movie in black and white. And this book expands upon some of the ideas they give you in the other book. It just gives you better description on how to find players and get a game going and find locations. It gives you some optional rules if you don't want to use dice, such as using cards. And it's got a page full of cards on here that you can photocopy, or you can use a deck of cards. And it's pretty neat. It gives you another system called odds or evens, where the player performing the skill calls odd or even, and then him and another player throw out some fingers. They add them up and tell whether they're odd or even, and for a total, telling whether they succeed or not. It's got a pre-made setting for you to use if you want, called Ord Minot Freeport, and it's got some adventure ideas for that setting, and a big list of Game Master characters. And it's got some other stuff you can photocopy in here, such as equipment cards and so forth. And that's pretty neat. But it's just more ideas of how to run your game. That's pretty much all there is in there. Which brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character in this game? If I wanted to play a live-action Star Wars game and could find people playing, maybe. I'm just not that interested in live-action role-playing these days. Would I run this game? I have run it before. I run it once and only once, and it ended disastrously. Everybody died. And thus ended my glorious career in the live-action Star Wars game. Would I recommend this game? If you like the D6 Star Wars game, then and are interested in live-action role-playing, this would be a very good option for you. And I highly recommend you check it out if you're interested in that kind of thing. If not, you could probably let it go. And that's really all I got to say about the live-action Star Wars game for right now. Thank you for joining me at a look at this book. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.